So the way that human beings get knowledge really, really fast is that we have social conditioning. And our brains are actually doing something called socially pinging, okay? And so essentially in any social interaction, here's an important principle. In any social interaction, there's one person who is reacting more to the other person than that person is reacting to them. On a certain level, basically, you want to be pinging less than the other person. But you don't want to not be pinging at all, because someone who is not socially pinging at all is like a homeless person. You know what I'm saying? You ever see a homeless person coming like, hello, how are you? Can I get some change? Change? They're like spitting on you and stuff like that. Right? Well, they're not pinging off you at all, right? So you don't want to be like some crazy person who, you know, who has no understanding of social cues. But at the same time, you want to be centered in your own reality. And then people look to you for authority. Essentially, you have to start to look to yourself to make certain decisions. You have to basically, you know, in your brain, you have almost like a decision-making muscle, all right? Making decisions is like a muscle. And you don't look to necessarily to other people to make decisions. You look to yourself to make decisions. And this comes with time, right? This basically just, you know, it comes with time. But anyway, essentially what we're unplugging from here is something called groupthink, okay? Most people are also, a lot of like the real genius that you have will also take place when you're not plugged into groupthink. In fact, even if you're not that intelligent, okay, I don't consider myself to be highly intelligent, but anything intelligent that I ever did do probably was because I was not in groupthink, okay? I was not letting the group tell me how to think. And when you stop looking to the group to tell you how to think, that's when you have a lot of original ideas and you can come up with original solutions. You have to learn to trust yourself. You have to learn to rely on yourself. I want you to think of like as if you have two different muscles, okay? You have two different muscles in your brain. Think of your brain like a muscle. One of the muscles is seeing the world through your own eyes, okay? Seeing the world through your firsthand experience, seeing the world through your assessment of a situation. And then the other muscle is looking to other people to tell you how to think and to tell you how to act. I want you to think of it like a plant, okay? So if any of you guys grow plants, you know, say that you have a wall, right? And then you grow the plant over the wall like this, you know? Say that you grow the plant like that. The plant can very easily grow tall by growing it over the wall. But what happens if you take that wall away from that plant? And it will create all of its strength, assuming that that wall is there. If you take the wall out, that plant is going to crumble. It's going to fall down. This is most people with groupthink. We're mentally lazy. Human beings, we want to save time and energy. We don't want to use more time and energy than we need to. All forms of life are like this. A general rule of life and biology is we are always trying to save time and energy. It's to the point, did you know that if you were to fly into space, anyone here been to space? No, me neither. Well, if you were to fly and you were to stay up there for a few months, when you came down, do you know what would happen to your bones? Anyone ever heard this? Your bones are brittle. Your bones don't even stay strong because they go, oh, I can save time and energy. I don't need to be all strong. I can be weak. Leadership, they get to that point not necessarily because of hard skills and intelligence, but because they're just good at bullshitting. They're just like, yeah, right? They just walk, they have no filter. They just believe in whatever they say, and then people just go with it. You know, even though we only have about 50 people on our staff, we're fast. We make fast decisions. We give very blunt feedback to each other. If I'm screwing up, my staff tells me I'm screwing up. They say it in a polite way. They say it unemotionally, but they'll tell me straight up. There's a lot of good open communication. And then in clients that we work with, if I'm working with a client whose ideas are stupid, I'm going to tell them these ideas are not going to work. No, I'm not going to say they're stupid, but I'll say this is not going to work, right? Do you guys here ever have problems where your clients are telling you to do things that are maybe not going to work? They want specific things, right? And so the skill comes down to not pinging off of them, but calmly and from a very centered place, explaining to them why it's not going to work. Certain skills that he talks about is he says, seek first to understand, then to be understood. So seek first to understand, then to be understood. And the reason why is because if somebody doesn't feel like you understand them, no matter what you say, they're not going to listen to it, right? That was why earlier, when I came in earlier this week and I tried to learn everything about your guys' job as project manager, which I probably still did a bad job of it, but I tried really hard. I did that because I know you're not going to want to hear what I have to say unless you feel like I understand what your job is. And I would like to hear more about it today. But anyway, so the skill there is elicit from them what they want and then feed back to them what they said. So say that they say, you know, I want A, B, C. You say to them, okay, so you would like A, B, and C because of this and this and this. You say it a little bit shorter than they said it, just so they know that you understand it. I'm like, is that correct? They're like, yeah. That's correct. You're like, cool. Well, in my experience, so you're not even conflicting with them or arguing with them, so the ego is taken out of it, especially because people in high power positions that are paying a lot of money to Cisco, they probably, maybe not probably, but in certain cases they're going to have a big ego. So you say, in my experience, we found this and this and this to work. How does that sound? Right? And you're not pinging off of them. Don't look to their reaction. Just be centered within yourself. And then from there, they can take it or leave it. And you say, all right, well, this is what I've advised you. You know, you can decide, right? Okay, thinking off of groupthink is what kills efficiency in business and things like that. It lets businesses go in all sorts of bad directions because the groupthink starts to just get going and we go with it. All right. Okay, now so I'm basically going to make a distinction here. Okay, we're going to a new area, which is the distinction between core confidence and situational confidence. So what are the differences there? All right. Well, I want you to think of a situation where you feel very, very confident, okay? Let's say that you just got a brand new haircut and you got some new shirt and you're walking down the street and you feel really, really good and someone looks at you. You know, what do you think to yourself? You're probably like, damn, I look good. They think I'm hot, you know, right? Or something like that, you know? You know, that would be an example where because the situation, because what you're wearing, for example, it gives you an extra little bit of confidence. You're throwing a party, and it's your party, and you feel really, really good at your party, and everyone keeps coming up to you like, man, this party is awesome, dude. This party is amazing, right? You're like, wow, thanks, right? Let's say girls are coming up to you, right? That you're is why can you, if it's just an emotion, and emotions really are generated from within, why can we not feel that way most of the time? Well, it's because a lot of the times our confidence is based on the situation. It's not based on a core value within ourselves. A belief that you have value inherently. Just you have value. You're a person of value. You're a man or woman of value, and that's it. And what your brain is going to do is it's going to ping off of the environment. It looks at the environment, and it looks at things like, how well do you fit in? How much authority do you have in the environment? How many alliances and different people who you know are in the environment? And then what it does is it gives you a certain amount of confidence, a certain amount of state. It's almost like a chemical that's in your brain, and it actually gives it to you. And the reason why it does this is very interesting. But it actually goes back to like the caveman times. So if you want to actually understand your emotions and why you do what you do, a lot of the time you can look at evolutionary history. You can look at like how you were as a caveman. So when we look at this nice room here, we're sitting here in Cisco, we got, say that you're in your tribe, and then you see some other tribe where you don't know anybody. And you go in there, and you're like, hey! What's up, man? How you doing? Like that, right? What's the other people in the tribe? There's no law. They're not gonna, what are they gonna do? They're gonna take a rock? Yeah, they're gonna go, ah, bah! And you're dead, okay? And they're not gonna get in trouble. They probably just would eat you or something. So we have this emotion to stop us from doing that. We have these emotions so that when we go into the other, don't worry, I'm not gonna, okay? I'm good, okay? It would make my brain say, don't do that, because he'll kill me. So it actually lowers my confidence. And what would happen is my voice would get more like, hey, what's up? Like, hey, how's it? Yeah, awesome. Like that, right? It makes you more shy. It does that to help you. It's to help you. It means that you won't go into like environments where you don't have authority and status and do something stupid. And human beings that did not have that power, they got killed. And they didn't have babies. And because they didn't have babies, you didn't evolve that character. We can be at ease. But when we're in an environment where we don't feel authority, we kind of shut down. We call it like, I call it stifled, okay? I call it stifling. So think of it like if you have a cup. So maybe I could steal the outside cup of this. Think of it like you have a cup. It's almost like this thing that kind of stifles you in. It holds you from expressing yourself, right? You can't express yourself. Whereas when you're unstifled, you can be more expressive. By going in there with like a low confidence, that's actually not going to make them like your work more. You know, if you're like, hey, I did this for you, and that's not going to make them like it more. So ironically, that same thing that's meant to make you be more like, you know, polite and submissive, a lot of the time it actually takes away from the power of what it is that you're doing. So generally speaking, in terms of your state, you want to shift that sort of criteria, the criteria that you have in your mind that lets you go into that good, positive, like confident emotional state. You want to shift that internally. so that it is a core confidence. The way that you want to think of it is like you have value purely because it comes from you, okay? Just like I have value, right? And also you want to believe that you have value because of your technical expertise. When you go, on a hike in the forest or something like that, it makes you present to the moment. Or when you spend time with your family and you're having fun, it makes you present to the moment. Well, presence is a very amazing thing because presence actually transmits onto other people. When you're present to the moment, it actually helps other people to feel present to the moment and get out of their head and get out of all that frustration and fear. Do you ever work with people who are in a state of fear or are stuck in their heads and thinking of everything that could go wrong and it's making them negative? Does that happen? Yeah? Okay. So when you can become present, you can actually help to draw them out of that emotional state. Think of it like the sun, and there's like these clouds, right? And you want to help the clouds to part so that the sun can come through. So if someone is giving you trouble and you stay present with them, you can help them to become present to the moment. You can help them to get into the moment. All right? And exercise for that if you want to do it, but I know most of you won't do it. But for the 1 or 2 people here that do it, it could really change your life, is something called just sitting down and breathing for, say, 10 or 20 minutes a night, just sitting on a chair and quiet and just like that, and just clear your mind, and you'll become very, very present. And what you'll find is you'll start to feel really good. You'll feel really good. What's funny is you'll actually feel better just sitting there doing nothing for 20 minutes, just breathing and being present to the moment, just feeling the aliveness in your body. You'll feel better doing that a lot of the time than different stimulation that you're getting. The law of state transference is the idea that whatever state that you feel, people are going to feel that off of you. They're going to feel that coming from you. So if you're in a state of like you're not sure of yourself, people will probably feel that coming off of you, and then they're not going to feel sure of what's going on. On the other hand, if you feel very happy, people will feel very happy around you. If you are laughing, other people will laugh around you. It's like whatever state that you feel, they feel. There's a great book by a guy named Daniel Goleman. It's called Emotional Intelligence, and another one called Social Intelligence. And I see a couple of you guys read. That's cool. And basically what he says is that human beings, we have something called mirror neurons. And mirror neurons is the idea that we can actually feel what other people are feeling. We can actually feel what's going on with other people intuitively. We can feel it immediately. Why do we have this? Well, say that you were in the jungle when you're a caveman, and some lion comes up to eat your friend. And your friend is like, like that, you would then immediately feel that fear off of him, and then it would make you run away. Because if you're like, why is he afraid? What are you afraid of? What's going on? Blah, right? And you would just get eaten. Become the lunch of some lion. So, people who basically don't want to become lunch of somebody else, we have these things called mirror neurons. And they feel basically that emotional state off of you. A great way to condition yourself is when you're sitting there in this really horrible traffic, just make the decision to be in a really good mood. Sounds funny, right? Just make the decision to become present to the moment. Stop thinking. Just go into your body. Okay? I'm driving, right? Because it's a moment of your life, right? It's like you only have so many moments of your life, right? Stuck in traffic kind of sucks, but it's still a moment of your life. You're not going to get it back. You can't get it back. So you might as well make the choice to be happy, all right? You might as well make the choice to be happy because ultimately, it's your life, right? So essentially, you want to be conditioning yourself to draw state from within yourself. This is what allows you to be one of those people who walks through the world with ease. Somebody who other people look to as an anchor for their emotions, okay? If you actually look at chimpanzee tribes, in chimpanzee tribes, what they do, the different chimpanzees, is they actually look to the alpha male to continually see what emotional state the alpha male is in. They actually do. They've tested this. About every 30 seconds, the chimps has been like this, and they're just like 30 seconds later, 30 seconds later, like this. They keep doing it because they want to see the emotional tempo. So a leader is someone who has to anchor the group to a positive emotional state. You anchor the group to that. You are grounded in your own energy. So where other people are going all crazy, I don't like this or I don't like that, right? You're like, all right, how can we deal with that? What's the right step forward, right? You just stay within yourself. All right, so that's basically the idea of drawing state from within yourself, okay? I think a lot of people don't really know what they value. In fact, a lot of our values, really a lot of the time, comes from consumer culture. Oh, what kind of car do you drive? What kind of brands do you like? What kind of watch do you have? What kind of, car do you drive? What kind of house do you live in? Things like that. Consumer culture. A lot of our modern culture conditions us to think that however much achievement we have, that's how we should value ourselves. That's what we should value in life. In the past, many different cultures would have values like integrity, would have values like honor or, family or having fun or things like that, right? That's what people would value. But in modern society, oftentimes there's a vacuum. And so we get sucked into consumer culture, as our sense of values. And that's stupid. It doesn't really make any sense because life is short and you really have nobody to impress. So if you lack a clear sense of what your values are, well, then what happens is you're like a leaf in the wind. You can be blown around. You lack a clear concept of what you value. Well, what your values are, what happens is that other people's values come in. Maybe greed or not working hard or, lack of integrity or finding the easy way out. And these are values that people don't like them, not necessarily, not even necessarily because they don't work in the short term, but because in the long term, they'll mess up your life. In the long term, it messes things up. Well, again, this comes back to having a strong sense of reality, is knowing what your values are. And this comes back into knowing who you are. You know who you are, you know your self-concept, and also the values that you have as a person. All right, another clear sense of personal boundaries. Having a strong sense of personal boundaries actually instills respect. It instills respect from other people. Somebody who lacks in personal boundaries will not be respected. They're simply not respected if they lack those personal boundaries. It comes across as low status and like anything will go. Doesn't mean you have to have aggressive personal boundaries just to have them, but just having a strong sense of personal boundaries. And another one, and this is a very, very important one for me, is the vibe that you expect around you. In my case, I only want I want positive emotion around me, or focus on the work or something like that, but positivity. And I'm not going to accept anything other than that. In fact, it's like anything other than that is like trying to jam a square peg into a round hole. I'm not going to let that in. Well, I think someone can feel overly entitled. Okay, I think people can feel too entitled and can be obnoxious. But generally speaking, I believe that you should feel that you are entitled to the best. You are entitled to everything life has to offer. Here's what's kind of fascinating in life. What you'll find is that whatever you believe you deserve in life is probably what you'll get. And this happens for a number of different reasons, but one of them is something called reticular activation system, RAS. Okay, RAS, which is reticular activation system. What reticular activation system is, and this is very, very important if you want to understand your clients and what's going on with them, is basically the following, okay? I want you guys to look around this room at everything that is yellow. Okay, look around the room at everything that's yellow right now. You see it? Find the yellow, find the yellow. All right, close your eyes. Do it, close your eyes. Okay, just go with me here, even if it sounds stupid. How much blue stuff do you see in the room? Can't remember, right? Okay, open your eyes back again. Okay, well, my shirt was blue. Maybe you didn't even think of that. All right, so that's called reticular activation system. Whatever you think has value is actually what you're going to focus on, or what you view as having a threat. So, for example, let's say that a very attractive man or woman were to walk into the room right now. Okay, say some like muscular guy with his shirt off, like walked into the room right now, and he's like, like that, right? Okay, yeah. Okay, so let's say that happened. Well, where's your attention going to be, right? I'm like, hey, listen to my ideas about corporate culture. You want to hear it, right? You're like, yeah. Right? Because your reticular activation system, we're lighting out, right? You're licking your lips right here. Right? It's human nature, right? That's how we are. Okay, so that's reticular activation system. We focus in on what has value to us. Or what if some frightening man with a gun came in right now? Right? But I'm like, listen to me. Right? Listen to my talk about RAS. The man's got a gun. Would you be able to remember what I'm saying? Well, I'm still saying that stuff. I'm still saying what I'm saying, but your brain will screen it out. It actually blocks it out. Literally blocks it out. Well, that's called RAS, reticular activation system. We focus in on what has value to us. Maybe like a really, say some like amazing food just like got wheeled in. It smelled like really good, right? It's like you can't stop looking at it because it has value to us. Or say that something is a threat, we'll look at that. Well, another fascinating thing about RAS is actually that human beings, we tend to seek out validation of our existing beliefs. This is a fascinating thing about human beings. We humans, we're a very interesting creature in that we would rather learn something that reinforces what we already believe to be true than learn something that's brand new and that conflicts with our existing beliefs. And a major reason why is because we want to stay confident. If you have a really strong belief about something and it turns out to be false, what's going to happen? Now you've got to question all your other beliefs. If this thing that I really believe is wrong, what else am I wrong about? And then it messes with your confidence. It gives you bad emotions. So something that RAS does is actually you have a belief about what your status is. And you'll keep looking for evidence to back it up and screening out any evidence that conflicts it. So let's say that you think that you're unattractive, okay? Say that you thought you're not an attractive guy. And then some girl came up to you and she's like, that's a nice shirt. Hey. You know what your brain's gonna do? Your brain's gonna be like, she's teasing me. She's making fun of me. You know what I'm saying, right? Anyone here ever done that when you're younger, maybe? Some girl actually gives you attention, then you think she's making fun of you. But on the other side, if you think that you're really attractive, and then some girl even just is like that, what's your brain probably thinking?
Oh, she likes me.
Yeah, she likes me, right? You guys know Pepe Le Pew from Looney Tunes?
Yeah.
You guys remember him, right? And every single thing that like this cat would do, he'd think it's because the cat's like in love with him. Just keep believing that that's what he's entitled. His entitlement. Generally speaking, like what we believe that we're entitled to is what we're going to get in life. That's generally speaking what's going to happen. And our brain is actually going to make us like, our brain, if we think that we're not entitled to a lot of success, creates something called success barriers. Our brain actually blocks out all these cool opportunities that we have to have success because our brain just thinks that we're not deserving of success. So it'll block it out. On the flip side, if you think that you're entitled to a lot of success and a lot of happiness, your brain will block out obstacles. You won't even look at different obstacles and you'll just look at opportunity. You'll just see opportunity right in front of you. It's kind of cool how that works, right? Well, that's what a strong sense of entitlement is. It's like I am entitled to a great review from my customers. I'm entitled for people to like me. I'm entitled for people to be positive around me. And that's what your reticular activation system focuses in on. That's what you see, like, yes, okay? That's it. That is all. That is your reality. We call this a self-fulfilling prophecy, idea of walking through the world with ease. What does that mean? Well, what I believe is walking through the world believing that opportunities are abundant, okay? Generally speaking, people have one of two attitudes towards life. They either believe that opportunities and happiness and good things in life are abundant, there's a lot of them out there, or they believe in scarcity. If you believe that there's an abundance of great opportunities, an abundance of friends that you can have, an abundance of happiness, then you don't go into fear. You don't go into the strange fear. But when you believe there's a scarcity, that's when you argue and stuff like that. But you become negative and hostile. I think that in a lot of ways, when customers are negative, a lot of it comes from the idea of scarcity. You know, they're in a scarcity-based paradigm. Yes, a win-lose paradigm instead of a win-win paradigm. You got that? Yeah, Stephen Covey talks about that too. That's very important. Yeah. Scarcity. And so generally speaking, it's like coming from a position of abundance, all right? And we talked about self-fulfilling prophecies and reticular activation system. And basically it's like when you believe in abundance, you'll see more opportunities because your reticular activation system sees it. Poor people, what do they always think? It's the world sucks paradigm. There's no opportunity. I can't get ahead. You know, I've got to fight this other man for some little bit of food, or, you know, I need to sell drugs to make money because I can't get a job, or, you know, whatever it is. It's like they believe in scarcity. Well, when you believe in abundance, you see opportunities. Your RAS doesn't block it out. It's like when I told you, look at everything that's yellow. You can't see, you don't remember where the blue is. Well, as far as opportunities go, if you believe in scarcity, all that your RAS is seeing is scarcity. There's no opportunities. Instead of seeing opportunities and jumping on them. You know, I take risks. I believe in opportunities. I believe there's lots of opportunities out there, okay? I believe I'm entitled to success. You know, so you as a project manager, you have to believe that you're entitled to success. You have to believe like everything's gonna be awesome. And look, I'm sure that there's probably some people in the room right now who know about challenges as being a project manager that I don't know about. And maybe you're thinking to yourself, well, what does he know about what I do? And the truth is, I've tried to learn, but there's only so much that I know about it. So I know that there's also obstacles to that success. okay? And there's probably a lot that I don't understand, that I'm trying harder to understand. But fundamentally, you have to believe that in the bigger picture, there's a lot of opportunities. You have to be entitled, okay? This is an we call this inner game, okay? The inner game of success. Believing that there's a lot of opportunities that are available.